Hello everybody, Brandon Jones here, editor-in-chief of GameTrailers.com, and you may not think it because we haven't had some trailer scores in a while, but we like to review trailers every now and then. We like to score them, as does Mr. Kyle Bossman.
I love trailers.
And Daniel Bloodworth.
Hey.
Both very creative in their love for trailers, and there was no question that we were going to be talking about this one, so they're in, it's in, let's talk about it. We've had some E3 news before, but this kind of kicks it off, the season of E3. Maybe, actually, we can start before getting into specific details of the trailer. A lot of people, I was surprised to see, were kind of weirded out by, like, why they're getting a trailer in advance. And I don't understand why, like, Fallout 4 is trending, and everyone's talking about it right now, and everyone's wondering, like, why'd they release a trailer? It's like, because everybody's talking about Fallout 4 right now.
Yeah.
People are talking about it on social media as if to say that people are now not excited about Fallout 4. You know, it's like, oh, I was excited for the Bethesda press conference, but now that I've seen this trailer, I can sit it out. Like, I can't wait to tune in. Hopefully, looks like something you might be able to play, possibly at a press conference. I guess I'll just basically bounce off you guys and get your initial impressions, because there is so much to talk about. We can maybe go point by point. What do you think, Mr. Bossman?
Sure. I mean, first of all, like you just said, we should get this out of the way. It's not a teaser trailer. This is a trailer.
It is called the official trailer.
Yeah, it feels like a reveal trailer, and so that is crazy, because of course it's referencing from the start. It's the Fallout 3 teaser trailer. And so that was honestly all I was expecting, and so we're seeing a lot more, and it's doing a lot more work than I expected it to do, frankly.
I was hoping we'd see a lot more. We got a countdown clock. You know, you don't want to do a countdown clock to 30-second tease. You just kind of do the tease on its own and then have that build up to another event. The 30-second tease is the countdown clock. So it's like, hopefully we don't get a clock for a clock. And this was definitely worth getting up early for. You know, This was worth the wait. What do you think, Blood?
I really like what they did with the dog, because, you know, I first saw the dog coming in and it was almost kind of like, oh, this is like a threatening thing, you know? But then, like, as he's exploring the house, you see it's like, no, he's just checking things out. He's, you know, getting the sense and figuring out what happened here, you know, and then just like that through line of him moving through the trailer. I mean, they show some other things, obviously, that are not connected to the dog at all, but and then it, of course, being your companion, which is a thing I think some people forget about Fallout 3, is having the dog by your side. Yeah, I think it's a great callback.
Does the dog look different? This is a different dog.
I don't expect there to be any kind of character connection at all.
Did you select the breed in Fallout 3, or were you just...
No, you found the dog in a specific place.
So this is the new model. This is the new dog, basically, for... I'm assuming, you know, they don't show you different dogs. I could see the dog being used as a narrative device, but at the same time, they must be suggesting some kind of new functionality with the dog, or more of an importance on the dog. I played Fallout 3, I didn't finish it, and I didn't really goof around with the dog that much, but, like, talking with other players, the dog seemed like something you would bring along purely for, like, emotional value. You're like, I just like this dog, and it wasn't necessarily effective or something that, like, cheating the game with this dog.
It would kind of, yeah, it would be kind of like absorbing hits for you, not really doing a heck of a lot of damage, unless, actually, the one I found the dog to be better if you had another companion along with the dog. If you just had the dog by itself, it would probably just get killed.
We're seeing this dog get to places before you do. That's kind of the vibe that I get from this, is that you're always one step behind. Like, you're actually in these environments too, but you're outside of this house. You know, you're outside of, you know, the different locations that he strolls up on.
Yeah, it does make me wonder if there's, like, something in, you know, because, like, obviously there's still going to be scavenging and all of that, so I wonder if the dog would scavenge out ahead of you and find things.
Put him on patrol mode, you know, and tell him, like, okay, I don't need to be near you. You can just kind of head out in the environment, and then maybe when he sees something, he calls you over. What do you
think about using the flash forwards in the trailer?
That's a totally different thing. So one other thing I want to talk about with the dog that I think is interesting is we've mentioned briefly that this is in-game. That's cool. You know, that's really neat, especially for a debut. I mean, there are some effects with the transitions and stuff, but, like, looks in-engine and is appreciated as an engine, but unfortunately, quote-unquote, looks in-engine because, you know, the dog doesn't have a lot of fur going on. The faces we're seeing are kind of simplistic. The guy at the end, you know, is, like, fairly generic. I don't know if that's necessarily them. I mean, some people might view that as shooting themselves in the foot. That a lot of people were kind of commenting that, like, this doesn't necessarily look like a next-gen game. But it is so open world. I think there is a big jump in the trailer from strictly sticking to interiors with the dog, and then all of a sudden we're outside. The dog runs outside. We see everyone outside.
It's
we get more
ship.
character models.
Once you see that ship, the game is changed.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at like a lot of the lighting and stuff, I mean, it's definitely a next gen. It's definitely a step up from vanilla Skyrim.
But I just had that moment where the
yeah.
dog was walking through the kitchen, and I really got a close-up look at the texture of his fur and
Right.
realized, wow, they're not really, not only not just doing gameplay, but not trying to apply some kind of fake sheen on that. Like, they're
Sure.
really confident in their engine. They're confident of this world that they've created. And this seems much more like a trailer that sells the world and doesn't necessarily sell, like, the engine or, you know, new cool effects that they're doing. It's like, we want you to see the places that you're going. You don't really fight anything in this trailer, which is actually different from a lot of other Fallout trailers. Again, tons of things to talk about, Kyle, but you were specifically bringing up the transitions, which would make sense, and they've done before with live action or CG. But to do in-game suggests that that's got to be something you're going to do in-game. You have to visit those environments, otherwise why build them just for the trailer?
Right, yeah, it is. Actually, that is an interesting point. And I also feel like we see a lot of locations, like, really fast, and I'm sure, like, there'll be other people out there that are going to pick apart, you know, all of the different spots, you know, from past Fallout lore. It gives me a sense that either this world is much bigger or you may travel to different regions somehow. I don't know. It's just, yeah, like some of those places just don't feel like you would just walk over there. You know?
Well, I mean, we see. I love the shot where we're in a helicopter.
Right.
We're on the inside of like a cargo helicopter, and it's just taking off. And I really love that shot, not only to communicate gameplay, but that's a good shot. Like, it's cool coming after all these environments. A really cool, weird thing about each of the sweeping environmental shots is they also show something traveling through it, whether it's a tiny little robot or some sort of monster. Almost every single sweeping environment has something traveling through it, which I think is actually obviously moves each shot forward and doesn't keep it boring. It's pretty cool.
And it's like a simple painting, a diorama of that area. It's like, here's this part of the desert, here's this weird little mutant thing that you'll likely to see in that area.
Yeah.
You know, like,
You're right.
You can imagine what level you would have to be in order to fight this. That's this area. You know, that's going to be, you know, the barrier to entry going into this place.
I love how they actually, I just noticed they actually have the box for the robot still in the closet.
Yeah, Mr. Something.
Mr. Handy.
Tons of great details, lots of shots that they go by very quickly, just kind of begging you to go back and freeze frame them.
Yeah.
Lots of intentional notes that they want you to explore on a second and third and fourth viewing. But specifically those transitions with the emphasis on place more than combat and really character. Like, you don't really get, maybe that's you as the baby, I don't know, like, we're getting the news from a vault person. I don't know the name of, like, the radio, but it's like he mentions the word vault. So, like, these are people that are prepared for, you know, this nuclear fallout, you know, and so they're, even though he sounds really sad, you know, he is kind of prepped for it. So you don't really get a sense of you, it's just exploration, and you see the dog exploring a lot of these areas, and then you see transitions between what those areas looked like back then and what they look like now. Makes me wonder that going places and finding out what happened in that area specifically to make it like it is now, I'm guessing is a big thing for Fallout 4. That seems like what this trailer's selling. Also, too, for it being Boston, and a lot of people that are there are calling out, like, okay, that's Fenway Park, I know where that is.
Yeah,
I can
no more
clearly see
desert,
them.
man. You got a city.
Yeah, and I like that shot too, where they've got the light shining down, the street light. It's
The noir, yeah.
Yeah, it's a different vibe for sure than a lot of the other areas that are more reminiscent of past Fallout games.
I find it interesting that at the very end, when he gets excited with the dog and says, "Let's go, pal," and you're going to kind of head off in this adventure, the place he's heading into is the most boring-looking area out of everything they've shown in the trailer. You'd think at the end, I mean, I guess they're highlighting your little headquarters. You know, maybe it makes sense that that's kind of a little, like, gas station along the side of a road somewhere. You know, you don't want to draw a lot of attention to yourself, but kind of funny that it builds. It spends so much time building up to, like, showing amazing places, and then you're like, okay, we're just going to go down the street and see what's in that car over there.
I think "Let's go, pal" is pretty cheap. I think it's
What do you mean by cheap?
I think it's a cheap last line.
Because they know we love the dog.
Right. Yeah. And also, right. Exactly.
I also felt like the war never changes. Like,
also cheap. That's a cheap line.
It felt, you know, it's like, I know it's a classic Fallout 3, but it's like it didn't have any weight there. It was just like, oh, we gotta throw this in.
So, but that's your character speaking is what's crazy. Who says, "Let's go, pal"? Like,
Yeah.
that's us.
I think putting in Perlman, I think putting that line in, I think just kind of wants to remind people, like, this is the same people.
Yeah.
You know, the same creative team, the same vision. If you liked Fallout 3, this is it. This is more. It's everything that you wanted it to be.
But is it? You know, there's still a lot of questions on whether the gameplay, how similar it will be.
Oh, yeah, and I specifically just want to address the trailer because we've already talked about it so much.
Right.
Yeah.
But other than anything else you want to say about the writing in the beginning, I mean, I like that it's kind of being cut off. I like that his statements are really brief. I definitely, you know, you can imagine somebody on the news who's just like, what do I do here? Do I keep reporting the news because it's like my civic duty, or do I just like screw this? I'm gonna go to the beach or something and just like turn the radio off.
Oh,
it's a cool character.
There's some real power to the performance, to be honest. He's killing it with that delivery. You said that's Ron Perlman?
I believe it's Ron Perlman the whole time.
Yeah, he's killing it, man. Like you feel fear in that newscaster's voice. I really like that part.
Ron Perlman's the new Kevin Bacon. He's in everything. Everybody's connected to Ron Perlman in some way. I think the music, actually, if I want to bring in music really quick, Blood, is a lot cheerier than I thought it was going to be. It's definitely, I get the vibe where it's like, wow, look at all these places. Just go out and explore. Whereas I was expecting a little more like, no, the world's too dangerous. You know, don't leave your vault. Like, there's... It's, you know, look at that, zombies running at you, you know, and like that's about as severe as this gets. Everything else is just like really inviting, and obviously this is a dangerous world. And
but I had that music. I had that music on the whole time I played Fallout 3, pretty much. So yeah, I dig it. I'm glad they used a different song, even if it felt familiar.
9.0 for me. I think the War Never Changes is a little generic. I think, yeah, just the way the characters look. I think they're trying to sell the characters a little bit more than they maybe should be sold at this point. Like Fallout 3 ended with the image of him and the dog just walking off into the horizon. He didn't say anything. And I thought that was better. So I think go back and watch, not the first Fallout trailer, because the first Fallout's just like the slow pull out to War Never Changes, and you see the city and you start like in a bus. And then the second one goes through a bunch of gameplay and stuff, and I think like is a much better introduction to the game, even though it's like VATS the whole time. It's just like, that guy's arm flew off, you know, it's a little more gratuitous. I favor that a little bit more than this. I'm not sure if I were to go back and score that, what I would give it, but I think this was a dynamo way to kick off E3, to announce the game, to get people excited for the show. 9.0.
I'll give it an 8.5. I like it a lot for showing as much gameplay as it does. It's actually the beginning that's my hang-up. I kind of feel like there's next to no reason to cut to the future, or to cut to the past and the future, if you're not telling anything in between. Basically, it's all building up to us seeing two parents and a baby, and like that doesn't really leave an impact, I think, you know. And then we'd see them run away and go into the vault, and we know they go in the vault. So anyway, you don't see expressions, you don't see fear, you don't see a reason to go to the past other than we haven't done this before. So I don't know if that really counts, but all the environment shots, everything they show of this game makes it look fun, and I think that's just so good. That's such you made Fallout look fun, which I think is really crazy. Great title reveal at the end of your trailer. You make Fallout 4 feel like it's an event, and also no pre-order now. They just say, here it is. Just
I do enjoy that title hit, man. It gives you a nice zing every single time. It's like, yeah, Fallout, yeah, video games, yeah.
Yeah, great logo. Great logo, too.
I'm going to go a little bit higher. I'll go 9.2. I think it has a great vibe. I like that it focuses on showing you the world more than anything. I do think that there's some spots here that feel a little bit awkward for sure, in terms of like the animation and how fluid things move, and then a couple of lines here and there that take you out of it. And yeah, and then at the end, like seeing that character, it's like you have a created character and you make this character that looks like he's more boring than anyone would ever make.
Just slick black hair. Yeah.
You don't really see him. He doesn't really turn to the camera. You know, they really want you to be like, it literally is a generic dude. Like,
yeah.
Just.
I think what's good for me is, as someone who spent a lot of time just like submerged in Fallout 3 for a long time, and yet it's been years. It's kind of like, it kind of does that job of reconnecting me, because it was like, you know, it's like, oh, okay, another Fallout. You know, like it wasn't hyping me yet, and now it is.
If I can close out saying one last thing, 8.9 for Fallout 4. So everybody knew this was going to happen, right? Bethesda announced their press conference. That's like the first thing everybody's saying. Okay, Fallout, you know. And then they put up this, you know, please stand by, and everyone's like staring at that for a while. It's at Fallout.Bethesda.com.
Yeah,
so it's like, okay, well, we know what this is going to be. And then some images leak, and like everybody knows, like, okay, it's in Boston, and like everyone seemed like to really try to like make out that this was not a big thing. That was just like, Bethesda just let the cat out of the bag, man. We can't be excited about this because we know it's what it's going to be. And then this trailer still comes along and it's like, nope, you haven't seen all of this stuff. You know, like, here's a whole bunch of new things for you to think about.
Yeah.
And I dig that. I think that's cool. Here it is. Here's Fallout. Go to fallout4.com. No pre-order now. Yeah. You just really direct. That's the way. There's no. It's not Fallout 4 Boston Massacre or something. You know, it's just like Fallout 4. You know, it's just there's such a simplicity to this. It's all in game. Like, I just really like how straightforward they were with this announcement, and I think it means we're going to see more cool stuff, and I can't wait for that. So thank you, Blood. Thank you, Bosman.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. See you coming up for more announcements from E3.